Perspective is everything, as new points of view can shine a light on the unseen. He's always on the floor.
Hey.
Video game perspectives take many forms, from right in the action, first person blasting, to way up in the air on a top-down view. I can't see anything from up here. Is that a rat? And these video game viewpoints have a dramatic effect on how a game is played and how mechanics are designed. A lot of players funnel into playing games from only one viewpoint because it's what they're comfortable with, but I love games that switch up the perspective that the player has on the world in the heat of the action. So today on Blurbs, let's look at games that offer a change in perspective. One of the first games to make this a clear-cut mechanic was A Link Between Worlds on the 3DS. As it sees Link doing his typical thing, running around, killing little goblins, but then all of a sudden he runs full speed into a wall and becomes 2D. My turn! In Zelda fashion, this mechanic is used for super clever puzzle design, making you think outside of the box and inside of the wall to come to each solution. In the Tower of Hera dungeon, I think it's used particularly well as you shimmy through grated windows and cut around platform drop-offs. This mechanic was one of the first of its kind, but it's mostly a gimmick, as it is in Mario Odyssey. Odyssey uses the classic Mario green pipe to transport you into the wall in almost the exact same manner as it's used in A Link Between Worlds. In these passages, Mario can reach higher areas, grab moons, or even obtain power-ups. I think the one frustrating thing about this in Odyssey is that it takes away the player's ability to transform into enemies, as there are still bullet bills in the wall. It would be cool if you could cap throw onto one of them and then pop out of the wall as a bullet bill, but all in all, it's still a fun gimmick that takes us to a new perspective within the game. Next up, we have Plucky Squire, and Plucky Squire hasn't even been released yet, but that's not gonna stop me from putting it in this video because I'm a rebel. And also I watched the IGN preview thing, so yeah. I had to include Plucky Squire as it's the perfect fit for this video. Its 2D book aesthetic pulls the player in until the character is brought through a portal that takes them out of the book. Now they can use the 3D plane to explore and solve puzzles that will affect the ongoings of the book. You can also transport into the pages to grab items that will help you out in the overworld, like this spring that he brings out and then jumps on to get onto a ledge. It's by far the best implementation of this perspective swapping idea, as the entirety of the game is designed around it. If all of the gameplay that we've seen turns out to be true, this iteration will make this idea less of a gimmick and more of a core gameplay feature, which has me feeling pretty plucky. Squire. That's the name of the game. What's wrong, Mini John?
I can't open this door to the next section of the video.
Well, that's because it takes two.
Oh, cool! Get him!
What It Takes Two manages to pull off in terms of perspective is a masterpiece. Swapping back and forth between perspectives is already a complex process from a development standpoint, but doing that on two screens while swapping between 5 or 6 different perspectives, all with multiple unique modes of play attached to them, is incredible. What developer Hazelight managed to pull off while making this memorable, joyful experience is nothing short of a miracle. It Takes Two could have just been a 3D platformer with the fun ideas that it has in those sections, and the game still would have been great. But its 2D sections feel fun and fluid, its top-down sections feel impactful and reactive, and its elephant section feels traumatic. Like, what the hell? Besides that though, It Takes Two uses its constant perspective swapping to make the game feel like a roller coaster of joy, one which sticks in your memory for all of the awesome moments, and also a little bit of the trauma. I would also be remiss to forget games like the card-playing action of Inscription, in which each act takes on a different viewpoint. I can't forget Hi-Fi Rush's action-packed switches, and I would even like to include things like The Witness, as the action that takes place in the world and on the tablets feel completely separate in structure, but conjoined in the game. This also brings up the whole other idea of minigames, but that's another story for another video that I already did. Video games are just like us. No, they aren't. That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, when video games allow us to see their worlds from a new perspective, it can be a fun gimmick used in puzzles, emerging gameplay, and even just to look cool. Some may be big and infect the entire game, and some may just take a moment to show you the world from a different angle, but regardless, as with so many of the mechanics we see, this perspective swapping can be used to enhance the overall quality of a game and make our experience a whole lot better. Bye-bye now.